can make clothing out of. You could even make a Faraday cage out of this material as well.
Right.
But it's very expensive. What I'm telling you about the aluminium fly mesh is very cheap.
Right. Okay.
And so it's accessible to just about everybody.
And can these be the cage, so to speak? Can that be how? I mean, is there any restrictions on how large it can be?
No restrictions at all. In fact, there are buildings now being built that are being built. There's one in Japan,
right,
as far as I know, and there's another one in France, in Paris, that has been built as a Faraday cage. The entire building is a Faraday cage.
That's very smart.
So they've connected everything with a screening or a mesh of some kind.
Yeah.
And even paint. You can get a paint which has nickel and other metals in it that bounce off microwaves. And you can paint your inside of your room and so on with it. And on the same documentary I told you about, we saw that in Sweden, the Swedish government is doing this for certain people who are now electromagnetic sensitive.
Yeah.
Because that's a new illness that is now being declared officially by the Swedish government, and also the British government has actually acknowledged that electromagnetic fields can cause cancer and illness.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just starting to see people coming forward because they're seriously affected and their sleep is seriously affected, so they have to get paint. They paint the walls and the ceiling and the floors, and then they put up screening on the windows.
Exactly.
All to prevent microwaves from coming in and making them ill.
Right. And there are, I think there are about, I read a report from, I can't remember where it was exactly from, but it was 6 different communities or towns around Sweden that are either have it right now or are going to bring in what they called electric, I guess the direct translation would be electric free zone or whatever. This is a zone, everything from 1 to up to 2 kilometers inside the town that should be totally free from all the wireless and things like this. That's an interesting project to see how it goes, but that's something to follow up on. So it's good to know that this is happening, in the works.
Well, yeah, and so to go back to the original point, I would say that people should reduce their exposure as much as they can, radically reduce it. You can get a small meter, a handheld electrosmog meter, which is fairly cheap, but it will let you hear the microwaves when they're in the room with you or they're in the vicinity, and it'll give you an idea of how strong they are, so that you could actually look at where you are working and then make changes. You could look at the school your children go to and then find that it has Wi-Fi and then demand that the teacher or the principal take it out. So there's a lot that people can do. They can also go to their politicians and make them do something for their money and make them demand that the schools hardwire all the computers, thereby reducing the exposure to our children dramatically. Because if you don't get out of the way of this, you're going to be exposed anyway in town centers, in libraries, and for mobile phone masts. You can't help but being exposed at the moment, even satellites.
Yeah.
So you have to reduce what you can reduce, what you have control over.
That's right. One website to go and check out is safewireless.org, but I recommend, again, taking a look at our information page. We're going to have a lot more information or a lot more links up there for you to further look into. But Walter, let's take a little break right here and then continue in our next segment where we're going to dive into the topic of fluoride, water fluoridation, fluoride in your toothpaste. Is it good? Is it safe? Who's behind it? Lots more to come. So, Walter, stay with us and we'll talk more after the break, okay?
Look forward to it.
Thank you. Okay, so head on over to redicecreations.com to find out how to sign up and tune in to our second segment and get full access to our members section. But for now, thanks for tuning in. I'm Henrik Palmgren. We'll talk later.